performance in his first start against the Seattle Mariners. Lost to Jared Washburn 2-0. Pitched great for 8 innings, only allowed 1 run. And Roy Smalley and I were talking in the pregame about pitching inside, and this is a guy that likes to pitch inside. That's part of his strength.
Scudero, Hill, and Rios lined up to face Perkins here in the first.
Yeah, writing down the averages, you're more, oh my goodness. Scudero hitting 333, Hill hitting 343. I mean, when Barajas finally came on my scorecard, I said, good, hitting 190.
Bouncer to short. Easy play for Punto. 1 away. Northland Ford defense for the Twins, with Michael Kadire, the designated hitter, leaving an outfield of Delman Young, Carlos Gomez, and Denard Span. Joe Creedy back in at third base. And Mike Redmond behind the plate, catching Glenn Perkins. Last night, the Twins led for most of the game, but the Jays kept the pressure on all game long and every inning long. It wasn't until the 9th inning when R.A. Dickey came in and pitched a 1-2-3 inning. It was the only 1-2-3 inning the Blue Jays had at the plate, and it was the only inning they did not score or have someone in scoring position. Coming inside for a strike, 1-1.
And that's important right there. That pitch right there is very important because of who's behind the plate. Rob Drake, the umpire behind home plate. You'll want to find out early, will he give you that inner half of the plate? Hill again, 3 hits in last night's ball game, all out over the plate of Kevin Slowey. So Perkins right there trying to establish that fastball inside.
2-1. Line foul, 2-2.
So you make the hitter make the adjustment. You pitch in there enough, and then it might open up the outer half of the plate. And Perkins likes doing that. That's part of his repertoire right there. Fastballs in, 2-seamer away, big slow curveball, the harder breaking ball, and the changeup. That's the harder breaking ball right there, down and in.
And it's a full count.
Perkins not a strikeout pitcher. He has not really been at the major league level. 104 strikeouts and almost 200 innings pitched in his young career.
Popped up, short left. Punto out, and Delman Young in, making the catch, out number 2. A tall one for out number 2. And that'll bring up Alex Rios.
See, that ball was middle in, and it kind of tied Hill up a little bit, where last night he just went right back up the middle, and this pitch he kind of got underneath it a little bit. Take a look, Redmond wanting it in. You can see how he has to bring his hands in. He can't extend those hands, and that creates that pop-up. Good pitch right there by Perkins.
2 down, and here's Rios.
Rick Anderson, the pitching coach, sitting next to Scott Baker there, tomorrow night starter.
You know, after the game last night, I was thinking about everything we saw, the 19 hits and everything, and it reminded me that from time to time, the very strength of this Twins pitching staff, the emphasis on throwing strikes, being around the plate and attacking the strike zone, there will be times over the course of the year where it seems as if that hurts the Twins pitching staff, where hitters are up there and they know the ball's going to be right around the plate. Squirted to the right side, and Perkins starts his game with a 1-2-3 inning. hitter hitting fourth, and Joe Creedy, Delman Young, Mike Redmond, Nick Punto, and Carlos Gomez.
And on the mound, making just his second major league start, Ricky Romero. He won his first ball game against the Detroit Tigers. And first round pick by the Blue Jays back in 2005. Very, very good draft in 2005 by a lot of clubs, and we'll show you that a little bit later.
Span leading things off. Had a couple of good plate appearances against left-handed pitching. He is less apt to be taken out with a left-hander than.
Span's going to take some pitches here, Dick. I really feel that. I mean, he took a pitch pretty much right down the middle. He wants everybody else on the bench to kind of see what he has as he swings at the second pitch. But you still have to be aggressive on the mound. Now, what the book is on Ricky Romero is that he has good movement on his fastball. He's got a curveball, slider, and a very, very good changeup.
Span got a base hit last night against a lefty on an 0-2 count. 1-2.
Romero just 24 years old, about 6 foot tall, about 215, out of Los Angeles, California. Played his college ball out of Cal State Fullerton, then drafted #1 by the Blue Jays in 2005.
And Span chopped it foul to Scotty Eldred. Span, the perfect set of tools to be a leadoff hitter, and he's hit leadoff in every game this year. A good eye at the plate, and at least in this at bat, the ability to keep his at bat alive with foul ball.
Yeah, make him throw some pitches right there. From Romero, that last pitch, the curveball that he fouled off, so this will be his 6th pitch against Span.
Span had a lot of strikeouts in spring training, but so far only 3 in 29 at bats this year. Hope I didn't jinx him. Just got enough of that to keep it out of Barajas' glove.
Yeah, I was going to throw you out of the booth if he struck out right there. Well, another breaking ball right here, and Span kind of last second right off the tip of the bat, and Barajas could not hold on to it. See the one finger away, so a fastball down and away.
Fan brought his glove, made a great catch with his son sitting to his right. That was awesome.
High fives all around. Former catcher, looks like Kirk Gibson a little bit.
Span having an opening battle here. Everybody getting their first look at Ricky Romero.
You know, we showed you that last pitch sequence. Barajas hit fastball away, and even though the ball was up, you want to put something on it. You aim for that spot like that fastball in, and you let it fly. You can't always hit your glove, but the last thing you want to do is have your pitcher out there trying to throw darts. Let the ball go, and so far Romero, this is what now, this will be the 9th pitch, so a very good at bat for Span.
Came up high and tight for ball 2. And Span fights off another one. Five 2-strike fouls for Denard Span in this at bat. This will be the 10th pitch of this plate appearance. And a chopper to second. Hill gets Span by a step, 1 down. Northland Ford defense for the Toronto Blue Jays. Vernon Wells, Alex Rios, and Jose Bautista in the outfield. Scott Rowland, Marco Scudero, Aaron Hill, and Kevin Millar, the veteran at first, with Barajas catching the rookie Romero.
Now, if every Twins batter can have an at-bat like that, 10 at-bats, we'll see Ricky Romero. His last batter will be Carlos Gomez.
And Casilla on the first pitch.
The old equalizer. Pitch. One pitch out. I mentioned earlier about Romero being the #1 pick for the Blue Jays in 2005. He was a #6 pick. To the Mariners, to the Nationals, to the Brewers, to the Jays, and then the Rockies.
Strike one to Morneau, and then further down the list, Detroit picked Ricky Porcello, and Romero and Porcello faced each other in their major league debuts last week. First time ever that had happened. There's Morneau skying one. Roland can't find it. And Barajas finally sheds the mask and makes the catch about 20 feet from home plate.
He was able to accomplish it in the first inning. He got a quick out on the first hitter and then came right inside on the second hitter. And that makes an impression on guys. Like that pitch right there. That makes an impression on subsequent hitters. There's a ground ball that was not really inside, but it came right in on Adam Hill. He couldn't get the bat out. And look how quickly Rios opened up after seeing those balls inside.
Now Redmond chasing a little pop fly, and Wells is quickly retired in the second.
And I know, Roy, you were talking right there, showing the graphics, but the first pitch of Vernon Wells was a fastball hard inside that he had to jump to get out of the way. So, you know what? Again, Perkins knows that's his strength. He's doing a good job so far.
Well, that's absolutely right. And that first pitch to Wells made him a little bit slower on the one that he popped up. That's what you and I have been talking about. And you have to go in there. You have to impress on those hitters, especially the good ones. That they're going to see a lot of pitches in there.
And I think what we have to also say is, when you pitch inside, it's not to go in and drill somebody. A lot of, you say you got to pitch harder inside. It's hit inside part of the plate. It's not into their ribs. It's inside. Just keep them honest.
Absolutely right. It's not to hit somebody. It's to, it's to set like that's a
that
great
pitch right there.
That's a great pitch, because what it says to all, now every hitter that's been up there, and the whole bench sees this, every hitter has gotten at least one or two, just buried in there, and they say, oh, hey, he's not trying to hit us, he's trying to pitch inside, and that makes you hurry.
And on the next pitch, Lind, who just cannot be retired.
Well, this guy's got a magic wand right now.
Base hit to right center field with one out in the second.
But even that right there, Dick, you take his strength away. I mean, he kind of inside out of that. But like I said, this guy's swinging a magic wand. Got the barrel of the bat out quickly, made the adjustment, and jumped on that pitch. Look how quick his hands are to drive that ball up the middle.
Hey, Roy, I wanted to use one other term that Ron Gardenhire used when he was meeting with the media, and Bert, getting your reaction too. He said it's important to pitch inside, but also to change the eye angle, I believe is how he phrased it, for a hitter. Change what? The elevation of the pitch, pitching in and out, but also up and down seemed to be what he was saying.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the ability not to have everything kind of the same speed and kind of on the same plane, because hitters, especially good hitters, really get locked in. And so changing the eye angle both in and out and up and down is very, very important. And what Gardy also said the last couple of days is you have to be add and subtract. And add and subtract means back and forward. You got to throw it hard, then you got to throw it a little softer, maybe even softer still, then harder again. And when pitches get to be a little bit too much the same speed, even if they've got some movement, if you haven't changed the eye angle and the speeds aren't enough different, good professional hitters like these guys are going to wear you out.
Yeah, you saw Mike Redmond go out to talk to Perkins right there. That's where Redmond, good catchers, Joe Mauer and Jose Morales is going to learn this. You become almost a second pitching coach. Might have seen something.
Drilled to center. Span on a hop, fields it back, or excuse me, Gomez in center field. So back-to-back line drive singles with one out here in the second inning. It's not been a fun season series lately for the Twins between Minnesota and Toronto.
Well, look at the outscoring. I mean, they've outscored the Twins 69-30, and they have out-homered the Twins in those 10 ball games 17-6. So it's an organization right now that against the Twins have been red hot. And the Twins would like to stop that streak here tonight.
Kevin Millar with 2 on and 1 out in the second.
Yeah, Millar last couple of years with the Baltimore Orioles, came to spring training as a non-roster player, made the club out of spring training. Of course, Millar got most of his fame with the Boston Red Sox when they won the World Series.
Nice right-handed hitting compliment to Lyle Overbay, who'll do most of the first basing for the Blue Jays. 0-2. That first pitch to Millar, you and Roy were talking about, pitching inside, not to hit anybody, but establish the inside corner. And that's what Chuck Knobloch always said to me, because teams would always pound him inside. And he said, they can miss inside. They can even hit me. That doesn't do anything. But when they come inside and throw strikes on that inside corner, that is an effective pitch against him, because it changed his approach during the at-bat.
Yeah, Knobloch was the type of guy that stood right on top of the plate, too. He dared you to pitch inside because he was so quick inside.
1-2 to Millar. Perkins had a 1-2-3 first, now trying to pitch around a little trouble here in the second. High fly to deep left field. Delman Young retreating to the wall, to the corner, makes a foul ball catch. Strong throw to second base, not quite in time. Good play by Young. Just crossing the line and making a backhanded catch for out number 2.
Again, here at the Metrodome, because of that Teflon baggie upstairs, you got to keep your eye on the ball. And Delman Young did that, went all the way into the corner in foul territory, makes a nice catch, and then shows off a very strong arm. Adam Lynn just getting back to second base. Nice running catch by Delman Young.
And now Barajas. Down the middle of strike. Barajas hitting 8th last night. Got a big double right in front of Travis Snyder's eventual game-winning home run. Snyder not in the lineup. That's the good news. The bad news is he'll probably be back in there tomorrow night. Driven to left. Young going back. Off the wall. A run's going to score. And it's a base hit, a long single over the reach of Delman Young, and Barajas drives in the first run of the game.
Well, Barajas picking up his 3rd RBI of the year. It's a line drive over the head of Young. Young, knowing they can't get it, now have to play to Karam. The ball hitting off the wall. He knocks it down, gets it back in as quick as possible.
Twins might have gotten a bit of a break there. That hit the very base of the wall and had a short carom. And it rolled right to Young, and that kept rolling at third base. Bouncer headed up the middle. Cut off by Punto to Casilla to end the inning. Good play by Nick Punto to take a hit away from Bautista and end the top of the second.
In 06, led major leagues. In 07, tied for 8th in the American League. Last year, finished tied for 4th in batting average. Dick and Bert, I don't know about you. You've been here for each of the last 4 seasons. About what time do the bats tend to pick up?
When Joe Mauer's in the lineup.
Well, last year in April, they were 13-14 as far as a season and went on to play game 163. So you just want to hover around, 500, a little bit over up until the All-Star break, and hopefully there, after that, you take off.
Middle of the Twins lineup tonight, Kadire, Creedy, and Young, 3 right-handed hitters with some power, hoping to get something going against Ricky Romero. Bouncer to third. Second hop out of the dirt to Roland. On to Millar, 1 down. So 4 up, 4 down for Ricky Romero.
Well, Romero last year started the season at AA, then moved up to AAA, where he spent the rest of the year. 8 wins, 8 losses in the minor leagues and 28 starts. Made the club out of spring training, mainly because the Blue Jays needed starters. A couple of their key starters, McGowan and Markham, are out for the year. So it's an opportunity.
Here's Creedy taking inside. The White Sox and Tigers were postponed today. The Twins, if they can win tonight, will move up to a game out of first place and game closer to the 500 mark. To left field, and Bautista over to make the grab, out number 2. It's with all these home games early on for the Twins, the hope is that despite the struggles of the first 8 games, that the team can move to the top of the pack and be the team everybody else is chasing rather than the other way around. The Twins typically have been the chaser rather than the chasee.
I just think this division, and I think all 3 divisions in the American League, are going to be a lot closer than everybody maybe anticipated. Toronto's going to be tough in the Eastern Division. I think the Central Division, you look at the Twins, you look at the White Sox, the Tigers, Kansas City's improved, Cleveland's improved. Should be a very, very fun race as the summer goes on.
Among the right-handed batters in the Twins lineup last year, Delman Young far and away did the best against left-handed pitching. Now he's got a 2-0 count here facing Romero with 2 gone in the second. Last time he was up with a 2-0 count against a lefty, he hit it about 430 feet to center field in Chicago. 3-0 with Redmond on deck. Strike on the inside corner.
That home run you're talking about against Mark Burley last Sunday.
And a tapper to short. Backhanded by Scudero. Young retired. And Romero starts his night with a pair of 1-2-3 innings. Most beautiful spots in North America. This Minnesota moment brought to you by Explore Minnesota. You can visit exploreminnesota.com to plan your next Minnesota vacation today. The Split Rock Lighthouse on the north shore of Lake Superior. Somehow it even looks more beautiful with the fog there. You need a lighthouse, don't you, when it's foggy?
Yes, we do. That's beautiful.
So kayaking. Pitch a little bit up, a little bit in to Marco Scudero. Scudero, the bouncer to short, his first time up. Perkins, I guess, holding the Blue Jays to 3 singles the first time through the order, but they came bunched together in the second inning to score the first run of the game. And that little break that the Twins got with Barajas' drive almost jamming itself against the very bottom of the fence and left ended up saving the Twins a run. That one just missing the inside corner. 2-1. Hey, when we were wrapping up the first inning, I expressed a thought, a theory. Hot ground ball on one hop to Creedy. 1 down. That the Twins' penchant for throwing strikes at times can almost hurt them because hitters feel pretty comfortable up there at the plate.
Well, I don't think that. I mean, that's why you have to pitch both sides of the plate. You have to pitch aggressively inside. You know what? You want to get ahead in the count. That's your ultimate goal. You learn that from Little League. Get strike 1. But how do you do that? You know, once you get strike 1, then you have to work in and out.
Bounce foul. Carsoup.com/baseball question. Ethan Cruz from Eden Prairie wondering how many microphones we use during a telecast. Last night the question was how many cameras. And
was there 13 cameras?
13 cameras. 29 microphones.
Wow.
29 of them. 14 of them are effects mics, meaning they're strategically placed around the ballpark. That's a microphone down there? What on earth? What sound are we trying to capture? Well, that's up down by the bullpen. Okay. A little bit high, 2-1.
You know, Dick, going back to what you're talking about maybe the Twins pitchers throwing too many strikes, there has to be that little bit of fear factor. And that's the key word right there. And that's what that fastball in does. It just kind of puts that little bit of doubt in that hitter's mind that, yeah, change up right there and Hill swings through it, but you have to pitch aggressively inside.
Two and two, Aaron Hill. Foul tip. Redmond hangs on. Out number 2. Well, we're going to listen to some of the 29 microphones that we have here at the Metrodome.
Do they talk?
Wow. We got one under the Stanley drape.
I'll tell you what, best obliques in the big leagues. Tremendous pop to right field, right over the second baseman's head.
Talking about Mike Redmond. Kevin Millar.
Former teammates. Microphone on one of our 13 cameras there. The Kevin Millar interview. Bouncer to Creedy. High hop out of the dirt. And Perkins comes back with a 1-2-3 third inning.
Let's see if Mike Redmond can hit one of those little soft liners over the head of Hill into right field at second base.
No, it took Romero, 10 pitches to retire Denard's span. He got the next 5 outs on 13 pitches. So that one at bat, as lengthy as it was, is the exception rather than the rule. 1-1. Casilla went out quickly. Morneau, Kadire, Creedy, Young, they all went out quickly. We'll see how many pitches Redmond can battle here in the third inning against Romero. 2-1.
You know, I want to go to the expert Roy Smalley. You know, when you face a hitter for the first time like the Twins are against Ricky Romero, he seems like he's attacking the strike zone.
He really is attacking the strike zone, and I don't think the Twins right-hand hitters have quite got their plan working yet. I talked in the pregame show a little bit about he will show you a good hard cutter inside, but he wants to get right-handers out with his two-seamer, Bert, with his sinker. And we saw Michael Kadire and Delman Young get counts in their favor, 2-0 and 3-1, and then roll over thinking they're going to get a good fastball to pull. They rolled over on the sinker.
Redmond drives it to the right field corner. Rios chasing it, and he nearly made a nice sliding catch in foul territory.
I know the Twins' plan was to try to try to hit the ball up the middle against this guy, because most of the time when you get a fastball to hit, it's going to be the one that's sinking or moving away from you a little bit. And if you get a little too anxious to pull the fastball when you get a fastball count like 2-0 and 3-1, you're not going to quite get the fastball that you think you're going to see. You're going to get that sinker, and that's where they got the two hot ground balls to the left side for outs.
All right, Roy, who has the advantage? Pitcher for the first time or a hitter?
Left field staggering and fighting the lights. Bautista makes the catch, one away.
I don't think there's any question in my mind the pitcher has the advantage. The pitcher's going to do what he wants to do. He's got a little bit of a scouting report on the hitters. He's got the catcher, to help him. But he's got his stuff and his plan that he wants to throw, and he's going to work with the sides of the plate that he likes, and he's going to change the speeds he likes. Hitters never having seen that, even if you see him on tape, it's not like really seeing what's that cutter really do when I'm standing up here in the plate, and how much does that sinker really sink. I think that, and especially the first two times up through the lineup, the pitcher definitely has the advantage. What do you think?
I agree. I think the pitcher has the advantage as long as he did what he did right there. Get strike one, and then you mix in your other pitches. And Romero's done a good job of that, getting ahead. There's a little screwball like that Punto fouls off. Nice play by Bautista on that ball off the bat of Mike Redmond. You could see sometimes those line drives get right into the lights, and that ball basically brought him to his knees, but he stayed with it.
2 strikes to Punto. Carlos Gomez to follow. The switch hitters the Twins have, and there are 3 of them, Punto, Casilla, and Morales, are all hitless as right-handed batters. Casilla 0 for 12, Morales 0 for 4, and Punto 0 for 7. Chopper to short. Scudero slings it over to Millar, and the head first slide does no good there. 2 down. Back-to-back historical seasons are yours for the viewing if you join the Twins season ticket family. Lower level 20-game plans start at $380 for the final season in the Dome, and that gets you a spot in line for the seat selection process at Target Field. You can call 800-33-TWINS tonight for more details. And it's been a slow start for Carlos Gomez, too, hitting just .136 so far this year. Fastball on the outside corner.
Well, we saw it last night. Anybody with a little speed that might bunt. Roland playing pretty even with a bag. He was in closer on Casilla and Span. But Millar at first base, I mean, he's really in and giving him that ball down the first base line. Look at Millar right here.
In and so far away from the line.
From the bag, yep.
Talking with Cito Gaston today about when the Twins got the run. Lyle Overbay throwing home when they had the infield in, but Overbay was playing a deep first base, and he said, we didn't catch that from the bench. That's not where we wanted him to play, and no one saw it. And he says, he going back a few years, he never had any luck bringing the infield in against the Twins. The Twins fundamentally are such good base runners, getting good reads and knowing when to come home and when not to.
Yeah, Span got a great jump off of third with that ball hit the Overbay.
But here's Overbay playing a deep first base right in front of the Toronto dugout. So many things going on, and that's not where they wanted him to be.
Well, he was on the other side of the bag, on the dirt, where they wanted him closer in, almost where that cutout is.
2-2 to Gomez, and a drive to left hit almost right at Bautista. 3 perfect innings for Ricky Romero and a 1-0 Toronto lead.
Delman Young, scoring Adam Lind for the only run of the ball game.
And Lind will be batting second behind Vernon Wells here in the Toronto fourth. Bouncer to short. Punto. High second hop. And Morneau with a wicked pickup at first. My goodness. Punto's throw was low and it looked like it hit on the edge of the rug. And somehow Morneau was able to grab it.
I mentioned it the other night. This guy is going to be a Rawlings Gold Glove winner, and that's Justin Morneau. He saves his infielders so many errors, and right there kind of slaps across to try to get that ball and somehow keeps that foot on the bag. A great defensive play by Justin Morneau.
Ball one to Adam Lind. Hitting a sizzling .417 so far this year. And Perkins tickles the outside corner, 1-1.
Lind last year hit .282 in 88 ball games.
And a bouncer up the line, foul.
Good fastball in right there.
We're talking about how the division races in the American League figure to be pretty close, competitive. This Toronto team could make things really competitive in the American League East. And a called third strike. Out number 2. And anytime Lind is retired, it's a rather significant victory.
Yeah, Perkins picking up his second strikeout. Good breaking ball, outer half of the plate. You pitch him in enough, and all of a sudden maybe you freeze that hitter. And watch this pitch right here. Lind kind of giving up on it, almost like a little cut fastball. And Perkins picks up the second out on a strikeout.
Scott Rowland will hit. Lashed a single to center his first time up. If the Blue Jays are going to be in contention this year, they'll need to stay healthy. And you got an update on Jesse Litch, who left the ball game yesterday.
Yeah, Litch put on a disable list, 15-day disable list with that right elbow strain, so he will be missed.
Aflac trivia question, perhaps linked to Scott Rowland somehow. The only 2 third basemen to win more Gold Gloves than Scott Rowland, 7.
You have to think of Brooks Robinson, that's for sure. So we got it right.
And I would imagine Mike Schmidt would be the other.
Yep.
They started awarding Gold Gloves when? We had that question once. I forget the answer. Wasn't it in the early 60s, I want to say? Well, it must have been in the 50s that Brooks won 16 of them, right?
I think back like in 58.
Yep, must have been.
When they first started giving that award. 1957, we were told. So I missed by 1. I got it.
Rowland with another hit. He drops one into right field. A 2-out single.
Well, he's a guy that really needs to stay healthy. He can create some power. You know, we talked about his Rawlings Gold Glove, but this guy was the National League Rookie of the Year for the Phillies back in 1997, a 5-time National League All-Star. And last year spent too much time on a disabled list, never really got it going.
Rowland among those visibly upset yesterday with the news of Harry Callis's passing. Here's Millar. Hit a deep foul fly to left. Delman Young made a nice play, and Rob Drake says that pitch was inside. And that one hits the corner, 1-1.
Well, you pull for guys like Kevin Millar, because here's a guy that was not drafted. He ended up playing in the Northern League for the St. Paul Saints. Ended up signing by the Marlins. This is his 12th major league season from a guy that was not drafted out of high school or college. So you tip your hat to guys like this that are persistent and want to play the game of baseball.
Another deep fly to left. Young almost in the same spot, makes the catch about 5 feet where he caught the first one, and the inning ends. From power and efficiency to innovation and style, it's the way our vehicles come together that sets us apart. Chrysler. Not a hit for the Twins. Nothing resembling a hit so far. Glenn Perkins and the Twins down a run, 1-0. And now Denard Span starts the Twins fourth, taking ball one. Span had the great at bat. That's the only thumbs up so far for the Twins offensively against Romero. He had a 10-pitch at bat. When you look at the pitch count, and this is just the 41st pitch for Romero. Little looper to left, and there's the first hit. And boy, if Span's 10-pitch at bat didn't help the rest of the lineup, it might have helped him the second time he faced Romero.
Well, we've seen Denard Span. What he does is he basically will hit what he gets. And this pitch out over the plate, not a bad pitch, but Span just kind of softening his hands, he looked like right there, just hitting that little soft line drive base hit into left field.
We'll see what the Twins do here with Casilla. He's struggling from the right side of the plate. We've discussed that at length in the pregame today and during his first at bat. And he takes up high. He went after the first pitch in the first inning and tapped out to second. Roland, of course, has won those Gold Gloves. He's very good at fielding bunts at third.
I see Scotty Alger, the third base coach, going through a set of signs. See if Casilla's asked to bunt right here.
And the Twins are learning about Romero. They're learning about his move to first. They're learning about how quickly, now in this at bat, how quickly he delivers to the plate to see whether they can do any running against him.
Right there, when Romero threw to first, Casilla almost looked like he showed he was going to bunt, maybe to try to fake him out, and he did, and he swings away.
Healthy swing by Casilla.
There's Scotty Alger.
Twins saw it twice in Chicago, and even last night it worked for them. You lay down a bunt and it can lead to a multi-run inning. And instead, bobbled by the second baseman. The Twins get a break there. Hill had a tailor-made double play ball, and the ball jumped up, hit him in the heel of the glove, and Span stands at second base.
You know, and Hill did the right thing right here. Span hustling into second base. When he bobbled this ball, he didn't panic. Okay, he bobbles the ball right there. Okay, I can't get the out at second. I will get it at first. And he's able to do that, but Span at second base with one out.
And Morneau will hit a towering pop-up caught by Barajas to wrap up the first inning. Out in front and a tapper foul. Morneau leading the team in runs batted in with 7. Has drawn just one walk. It was an intentional walk. Fouled away, 2 strikes.
Boy, you gotta like the way this youngster right here is going about his business. 31 strikes, 15 balls, total of 46 pitches so far, so good strike to ball ratio.
2 strikes to Morneau. 6 hits, 14 at bats against lefties in the early going this year. Sailing high and wide, 1 and 2. Span a couple of times this year already has stolen third, including last night. Lace to center. Wells chasing it. It's over his head and over the wall. Morneau with another hit against a lefty. Span scores from second, and we've got a tie ball game.
Well, Vernon Wells, one of those center fielders that doesn't play a deep center field. He feels he can go back with the best of them, but Justin looked like he got a pitch up and hit it over the head of Vernon Wells. He picks up his 8th RBI. The game is tied, and Justin with his 3rd double of the year. The ball bouncing out of the ballpark for a ground rule double.
Now Cuddyer had a ground ball to roll in his first time up. Strike call. Dyer with a glance back at Rob Drake. That's looped to center, and Morneau is going to have to retreat quickly. And he's doubled off. So Morneau is doubled off after doubling in the tying run. Ounces, 22 inches long on Friday. Everybody home safe and sound today, and congratulations. That's outstanding. Strike one. The leadoff man here in the 5th inning. That's Rod Barajas, who drove in the Toronto run. Jose Bautista and Marco Scutaro to follow. A towering fly ball to center field. And Carlos Gomez with the catch. Well, Perkins finally has a run to work with.
He probably feels like he got 5 runs right there. Again, in his opening debut against the Mariners, he hooked up against Jared Washburn. Gave up only 1 run in 8 innings. Ended up losing that ball game 2-0. Well, Perkins doing his job so far tonight.
Here's Jose Bautista. 2 things conspired against the Blue Jays in that 2nd inning. One was Barajas' hit that hit the base of the fence and just rolled to the glove of Delman Young. And that kept the Blue Jays with just 1 run in the inning. Then, too, Bautista looked like he was going to get a base hit. Punto took the hit away from him, got the final out of the 2nd inning. 1-2. And Perkins gets his 3rd strikeout. Our Aflac trivia question involving third basemen who've had more Gold Gloves than Scott Rowland 7. Brooks Robinson the obvious answer, and it's going to be, as Harry Callis would say, Michael Jack Schmidt, huh? Had 10 of them. Well, you must have faced Schmidt, of course, in the National League, and I just got to see him play a couple of games in the 1980 World Series.
I didn't like him. Still don't like him.
But by people who saw a lot in both leagues claim as much as you can in different eras and all that Schmidt's probably the best third baseman ever to play the game.
Well, I got to go with Brooksy.
Well, I'm talking about the total package now.
Yeah. Well, total package, yes. I'm talking defense. We're talking rolling gold gloves. I got to go with Brooksy in that department. Of course, all around, Mike Schmidt.
For some reason, third base has been the least represented position in the Hall of Fame. There are like 9 of them, I believe. 1-1 to Scudero. 2-1.
Well, you have a lot of other players like Cal Ripken. You know, he went in as a shortstop, but he played, toward the end of his career, third base.
Harmon Killebrew played some at third, but he
went in as a first baseman.
But Eddie Matthews, great third baseman for the Braves, finished his career, I think, with the Tigers. And the Rat was a great one, and a multi-Gold Glove winner himself.
Yes, he was.
And a walk put Scudero aboard. Third walk of the year issued by Glenn Perkins. Wednesday nights are still about the hot dogs in 2009. You can come out tomorrow for Hormel Dollar a Dog Night, presented by Country Hearth. Hormel dogs for $1 a piece while supplies last. Limit 2 per customer. Come see the Twins and Blue Jays. Scott Baker going tomorrow night for the Twins. Call 800-33-TWINS or visit twinsbaseball.com.
Well, she's enjoying her hot dog.
And now ball 1, and Redmond will go to the mound to talk to Perkins.
Again, this is where the second pitching coach on the field kind of helps out right here. Rather than a trip from pitching coach Rick Anderson just to settle him down, it's Mike Redmond going out to just say, hey, get yourself back focused, get back down in the strike zone.
And that, thinking back to last year, an underappreciated probably talent of both Redmond and Joe Mauer. They had a very inexperienced starting rotation, and they don't allow for extra trips to the mound by the pitching coach. Both catchers did a great job last year, getting as much as they did from that young pitching staff.
Well, they take a lot of pride in calling a good game for the pitching staff. They know that you win and lose ball games because of the pitching, and you have to be consistent. So both Joe Mauer, Mike Redmond, 2 great guys for Jose Morales to learn from.
There's a strike, 2-1. As for Morales, Ron Gardenhire critiquing his catching behind the plate, saying he needs to get his legs into his throws a little bit more. He's throwing, I think he said, flat-footed, and that's why his throwing difficulty has been exposed here in the games that he's been catching. 3-1 now to Aaron Hill.
Yeah, Coach Steve Little works a lot with the catchers, but was working out early here today with Morales about that. A little hit and run situation maybe here. Scudero stays and Hill fouls it straight back.
Well, here's Steve Little saying to Morales, you need to be a little bit quicker in receiving the ball and using your legs in your throws to second base. They said in spring training he was kind of jumpy, keeping in mind he's a converted catcher. He's learning the position on the fly here. High pop up down the left field line. Long run for everybody. And Delvin Young makes the catch in front of a sprawling Nick Punto and climbing the bullpen mound. A great catch by Young after a long run to end the inning.
Well, he's made 2 great catches in foul territory. That one in the off of Kevin Millar in the second, and then a very nice running catch right there for the final out in the 5th.
Joe Creedy takes down and in. This is microphone number 18. Down and away to Joe Creedy, 2-0.
What you heard right there is Delmon Young right at the last second, because he wasn't sure if he could get there or not, called Nick Punto off, and Punto alertly did whatever he could to get out of the way, and he just kind of slid into it.
That's to the gap in left center field. It'll split the gap, and Creedy digs for second. He's in with a leadoff double.
Well, Creedy got a high fastball right there, did not miss it. Second time around for a lot of these guys off of Romero. Romero left that ball up. Good extension by Creedy. Third hit for the Twins for Joe Creedy, his second double of the year. Splitting the gap out in left center.
And now Young. Swing and a miss. Baseball players are forever trying to separate parts of their game, not taking bad at bats into the field. But very often, after a player has some success in one part of the game, witness a couple of nice catches by Delmon Young, whether it relaxes them or builds their confidence, sometimes it carries over into the offensive end of their game. We'll see if Young can have a good at bat here and at least get Creedy up to third.
Well, if Delmon Young does make an out, he'd like to make it on the right side of the field, but they're really busting him inside.
That's line to right, and a shoot top catch made by Rios. He hit it to the right side of the field. Just got it elevated for the first out.
Well, the intention was there, and that's Twins baseball right there. Give yourself up to try to advance that runner from second to third. He hit it sharply, but Rios, a shoestring catch, makes the first out.
Redmond hit a fly ball to left his first time up, and the right fielder Rios and the center fielder Wells really playing him shallow.
Yeah, I mean, this is a ball club for some reason of Toronto Blue Jays. I noticed in last night's ball game, Wells does not play a deep center field. Rios taking a gamble right here that Redmond, if he does get a hit, it's going to be to short right field, kind of what Kevin Millar was talking about earlier.
High hopper over the mound. Creedy got a good read. He's being waved around. The throw from Vernon Wells is off target, and Redmond puts the Twins in front. Big hit for Redmond, and Creedy off with the crack of the bat to score.
You got to love those high choppers over the mound, right over the head of Romero into center field. Now, Vernon Wells is playing a shallow center field with that ball getting to him quickly. He throws the ball to home all the way in the air, but it's on the first base side, and that allows Joe Creedy to score. Wells charges the ball nicely, gets it, and the throw a little bit off target. And the Twins take a 2-1 lead. For Redmond, his first RBI of the year.
And now Punto bounced to short his first time up. And Redmond checked it first for some unknown reason. On the outside corner. Well, the Twins have just 4 hits, but they've come from the last 7 at bats. Young hit the ball sharply for an out this inning. One and one. foul. 1-2. Blue Jays have the best record in the American League. Only 2 teams in baseball have less than their 2 losses, the Atlanta Braves and Florida Marlins. Those 2 teams are playing each other, with Florida leading 6-1 in the 8th in Atlanta. Junto chops it to first. Millar goes there, and Redmond is safe at second base. Redmond is still bothered by his sore right groin, and he was just able to flash down to second base in time ahead of the tag.
Well, Kevin Millar on this high pop-up, he made a high ground ball. He makes sure he gets one, and then throws it over to the shortstop, and Redmond getting that right foot on the bag before the tag can be applied by Scudero.
And now Gomez, Twins in search of a 2-out hit. Gomez in search of a hit, and a slow start for Gogo. Strike 1. Just 3 hits, a single, a double, and a triple. Oh, 2. Gomez watching the last couple of ball games. To right, carrying out to Rios to end the inning. But the Twins get a leadoff double from Joe Creedy, an RBI single from Mike Redmond to take their first lead of the night.
Left field, I have Eric and Pat from Eden Prairie, Minnesota, in the Minnesota State Lottery Winner's Circle. Bert, you ready to play along?
I sure am.
All right, Bert, circle them.
They are hereby circled.
Square them.
No, I don't. I only circle.
Triangle.
I only circle.
You only circle. Drop it. Scribble them.
I'll scribble. I'll be love to. Get them back on there.
He only circles. What do you think of that, Pat?
I'll scribble them.
That's pretty lame.
Yeah, there we go.
She said that's pretty lame, Bert.
Congratulations.
Alex Rios leading off the 6th for the Jays. Strike 1 from Glenn Perkins, and now a little bit low, 1-1. Perkins, who saw his team get a game-tying run, now a go-ahead run. We'll see how he fares with the lead against this blistering hot Toronto lineup. 2-1.
Well, continuing to bust a lot of these Blue Jays inner half of the plate. Perkins has allowed only 4 hits. 1 walk, 3 strikeouts for Perkins.
Excuse me, chopper up the line, 2-2. 4-game series here, and then the 2 teams will say goodbye to each other until September, when the Twins play 4 games at the Rogers Center. Nice mix for Perkins. 6 ground ball outs, 6 fly ball outs, and 3 strikeouts. And 4 strikeouts.
Good changeup right there. Good location. And Perkins gets his 4th strikeout of the ball game. Boy, you bust him in, and then you're able to take something off the ball, like Ron Gardenhire was telling Roy Smalley earlier. Just take a little off.
1 down, and here's Vernon Wells. Check swing. Did he go? Nope. 2-0. I'm interested in your assessment in looking at the 5 starting pitchers the Twins have, and we'll throw Scott Baker in there since he's going tomorrow. Liriano, Slowey, Blackburn, and Perkins. It seems to me that Perkins' delivery is a little more fluid, and maybe, I guess the hope is that it'll be more durable than some of the others.
Well, everybody has a different delivery. I like Kevin Slowey's delivery too. I think the only one that has a violent delivery is Liriano. Baker, very smooth delivery. One thing that Rick Anderson has kind of worked on Liriano, but Slowey, he just has made some bad pitch selections. What I like about Perkins, what Slowey didn't do last night, he's working very quickly. I thought Slowey last night kind of took a little bit too much time. He's almost like he's trying to think about the next pitch rather than just get up there and be aggressive and attack the strike zone. And I think he's going to learn that as the summer goes on. But you learn too by watching others.
That's to center. Carrying out to Gomez. Looking to catch out number 2. Make sure your wardrobe is ready by logging on to twinsbaseball.com for the best baseball gear, including hats, t-shirts, and jerseys. Gear up from the source at twinsbaseball.com, where baseball is in full swing.
When I came up, I had Jim Perry, Jim Cott. I watched, I learned, and I saw how quick they worked and what they did out on that mound to make themselves better and make the adjustments. And now Kevin Slowey's had a couple bad outings. Now he's got to make the adjustments, but don't lose your aggressiveness. A lot of times pitchers will get into that mode of, I have to make every pitch perfect, and you can't. Just stay aggressive. Exactly what Perkins is doing tonight. Let it go. Work both sides of the plate. Work with the catcher, but also know you have to put on and take off. And Perkins is doing that in the middle innings here.
And that's what they've said about Kevin Slowey after the game last night. They thought one area they need to work on with Slowey is adding some separation between the fastball and some of the other secondary pitches.
Well, sometimes we can give the hitters too much credit. A great hitter hits 300. 3 out of 10 times he's going to get a hit. So sometimes you're out there and you're thinking, boy, this guy's going to hit this ball, rather than saying, I can get this guy out. So much of it is mental. What did Yogi say? 80% of the game is physical, and the other half is physical.
Casilla gets the first out. And Perkins has a 1-2-3-6, and the Twins have a 2-1 lead. By freeze cam.
Oh, you attack the defense or attack the hitters. Good defensive play. Nick Punto right there. Great play to end the second inning. Probably saving a run. Got off the bat of Jose Bautista.
And since the Jays got the 1 run in the second inning, the Twins got a leadoff single and a run in the 4th and a leadoff double and a run in the 5th. It was Span singling for the first Twins hit. He came around to score the tying run in the 4th. Ball 1. That was the Frost Brewed Coors Light freeze cam. Span had a 10-pitch at bat in the first inning, and then he dumped a single to left, leading off the 4th. 1-1.
Well, I like the way now Ricky Romero making just his second major league start. I like the way he's pitching here. In his first start against the Tigers in Toronto, he worked 6 innings, gave up 2 runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Now he has not walked anybody, has not struck out anybody.
Little spinner.
That's trouble.
And Barajas can't get Span at first. That ball traveled about 15 feet.
You saw that was trouble right off the get-go because it hit right off the end of the bat, and that ball was spinning. Right there, look at that ball spin and stay fair. Barajas has to go chase it. Great effort. You can see that ball still spinning when he picks it up. He pulls Millar off the bag, but Span for sure would have beat it out anyway. So Span gets his second hit and the 5th for the Twins.
Here's Casilla. We'll see if Casilla's asked to bunt twice. He has hit a ground ball to Aaron Hill at second base. And remember, that second ground ball in the 4th inning really was a tailor-made double play. Hill bobbled it. They, at the very least, did not get the lead runner. Certainly, if it had been turned quickly, they could have turned 2. And Morneau followed with an RBI double.
Twins got a break right there, and they took advantage of it.
1-0 to Casilla. Span goes, swing and a miss, and Barajas with a throw on a hop, and Span has another stolen base. Twins doing a little more running when they get the right guys on base. For Span, his 3rd steal of the year.
They got a pretty good jump right there. Barajas has to dig a ball out of the dirt. Excuse me, he did not, but to throw a little bit low, it was Scudero that had to dig it out. But Span gets in the scoring position with nobody out. Now let's see if Casilla maybe bunts.
And bunted towards Roland, right? You want the 3rd baseman to play this one?
You can also bunt to first because Millar is a right-handed thrower. A little bit harder for him to, feel the ball and turn and make his body. Now, the perfect bunt would be, yes, softly to Roland, make Roland leave that 3rd base area to field the ball. And Span can basically walk to 3rd if that is done.
2-1 to Casilla.
Just lay it down.
That's past the pitcher. Millar with a pickup, and Casilla beats it out. A bunt maybe a little bit too hard and not in the right direction, but it worked out fine for Casilla.
I think Kevin Millar, who was already in, he thought that the pitcher Romero was going to get this ball. The ball scooted past him, and Millar on his knees has to spin and try to throw. And on the play, Span, because he thought the pitcher might get the ball, he stays at second base. See, Span thought about going, but he thought maybe the pitcher was going to get it. And it ends up being an infield bunt single for Casilla.
And Casilla's first hit, as peculiar as it was, against a left-handed pitcher.
I think that's the Twins' first bunt hit of the year.
And here's Morneau, who crashed a ground rule double to center field.
Wasn't the prettiest, but it worked.
And Romero, for the first time, is dealing with the Twins up there with the makings of a bigger inning and a half swing, strike 1. We mentioned Morneau has just 1 walk this year, and it was an intentional walk. And the concern expressed by Ron Gardenhire, or to Ron Gardenhire, not by him. See this pitch in the dirt. Nice stop by Barajas. But some people were concerned that with Mauer out of the lineup, Morneau might try to do too much in his former roommate's absence. A high fly to deep right field. Back is Rios. No catch. No catch, and everybody moves up a base. First base umpire Jeff Kellogg went out to right field, and even though Rios had it in the glove, and I think we can hear it with one of our 29 microphones, that ball hit the baggie.
Rios went back. He was keeping an eye on the ball, leaped right there, and the ball hitting the tarp and then falling into the glove of Rios for a long base hit. Listen to this. That's why it's so hard to play in here. I couldn't even see it.
Loaded up for Cuddyer with nobody out. Cuddyer 0 for 2. Strike one. No protest from Cito Gaston or Rios. Well, that's close, isn't it? Yep. 0-2 to Cuddyer. Greedy on deck.
I think if Rios had caught that ball, he would have went berserk. But like you mentioned, Jeff Kellogg, the first base umpire, the crew chief here, went out and saw that ball hit the tarp first.
Big spot for Cuddyer, but a tough spot now with the count 0-2. Dug out by Barajas. Last series here with the Mariners in the series finale, Franklin Gutierrez made a sensational catch in left center field. And the second base umpire, will remain nameless, never moved from behind the second baseman and made the call. He made the correct call, but did not go out to the play. Cuddyer strikes out for the first out of the inning.
Well, Romero did not have a strikeout up to this point. So he's got to say, okay, bases loaded, nobody out. I better throw my best stuff. And look at that breaking ball. A nasty breaking ball down and in. And he picks up a huge strikeout.
Left a breaking ball up to Creedy, and he whacked it for a double. We'll see what he gives Creedy here with the bases loaded and one out. The Twins need their new third baseman to come up with a run producing at bat here. Ball one. In last night's game, a 2-run loss, the Twins twice had a runner at third with nobody out and did not get that runner in. Here, a glorious chance to create some breathing room for Glenn Perkins.
Well, the defense for the Blue Jays looking for the double play.
Creedy out in front of that breaking pitch. 1-1.
That might be the changeup right there, Dick. There, as told before, Pat Tabler, the color analyst for the Toronto Blue Jays, said he has an outstanding changeup. That might have been the great changeup.
Span with a single that went about 15 feet. Casilla with a bunt hit. Morneau with a fly ball nearly caught by Rios. Bases loaded, one out. Creedy takes inside, 2-1.
Yeah, that's the breaking ball right there. That's almost the same pitch that struck out Cuddyer.
Back to the pitcher. Thrown, a force out at home and a force out at first, and Romero pitches out of it. The Twins squander a great chance in the sixth.
RBI single scoring Lind. In the fourth inning, Justin Morneau, a double over the head of Vernon Wells for a ground rule double. And then the Twins added one more in the fifth with an RBI single, a high chopper over the mound by Mike Redmond.
Denard Span with the catch right in front of Casilla. Scott Rowland is quickly retired for the first out of the seventh. The Jays don't have a hit since Rowland's single in the fourth.
Great job by Romero getting out of that. He made a great pitch right there on Joe Creedy. Almost looked like a screwball that Creedy just kind of hit right back to him.
His throw to the plate nearly pulled Barajas off the plate, and then Barajas' throw almost pulled Millar off of first, but they got the double play. This one hit down the left field line foul, and even Delman Young's not going to catch that one. Young's caught a couple in foul territory tonight. Millar has hit two of them down the left field line, both of them caught.
Hey, you're probably saying at home, why is Delman Young even going back toward right center? Just play him right on the line.
Stand on the line.
Delman actually is pretty close to that left field line now.
It's about as tight to the line as you'll see a left fielder play.
Well, he's hit it twice there already.
Just off the inside corner. Well, the Blue Jays, who cracked out 19 hits last night, are so far left with 4 singles against Glenn Perkins. And 3 of those came not consecutively, but bunched together in the second inning when the Jays scored a run. 2-1 to Kevin Millar. That's to center. And Gomez trots in. 2 away. 2 very good starts here in the Metrodome for Glenn Perkins.
Well, both these left-handers are doing
with the RBI single in the second.
Now, see, I like games like this rather than the one last night. I like pitchers' duels, and I don't know why. This is a good ball game. Last night it was just too many extra base hits. I mean, this is like, you know, one bad pitch creates a double or an extra base hit just like that.
Barajas stings another one to the gap in right center field, and he's aboard with a 2-out double.
Yeah, Perkins just left the ball up with 2 outs. You go after him. Barajas won that battle right there. Gets a double, his second double of the year on his second hit of the game. So he gets into scoring position. And Perkins gives up his 5th hit of the ball game.
Jose Bautista with the tying run at second and 2 away. Well, I'm with you. These games are. John McDonald's going to run for.
I was wondering if Barajas was going to come out of the ball game because of his lack of speed. John McDonald, who pinch ran for him last night, late in the ball game, takes over for him at second base.
So here is the former Pirate Jose Bautista, grounded to third. Nice pickup by Creedy. And an on-target throw to Morneau. So the double on the board, but Perkins gets the final out on the next pitch. Live strong, live bold, live now. Dodge, grab life. And by Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Let's take a look at our Mountain Dew fan of the game. You are hereby circled, young lady.
And Delman Young will lead things off, trying to mount another threat against Romero. And he hits the outside corner, strike one. Well, yeah, tip your cap with Michael Barrett now doing the catching. Tip your cap to Romero and what he did in the sixth to keep this game within reach. First three batters reached, and you know, just a bunt hit, a squibber in front of the plate, and then a fly ball that carried just far enough for Morneau to fill the bases. Did he go? No. And it's 2-1. But Kadir and Creedy, the 4 and 5 hitters for the Twins, weren't able to get another run across for Minnesota. 2-2 to Young.
Yeah, both these pitchers here tonight doing a good job of working both sides of the plate. Romero with that fastball in, the breaking ball in to right-handers, and then that screwball type two-seamer that he threw to Creedy to get the double play. Barrett sitting inside, and the ball inside, and Delman fouls it off.
Creedy hit the comebacker. Now Young trying to start a rally in the seventh. 2-2. And now a full count. Second full count, and I think they've both been Delman Young. And that'll bleed into center field. Young has a single starting the seventh. Sometimes a line drive will slice away from an infielder or an outfielder. This one looked to be a ground ball that was slicing away from Scudero.
Yeah, it sounded like he broke his bat right here, but the ball right back up the middle. And Scudero just can't knock it down. So Delman Young picks up his first hit for the Twins. They're 8.
Redmond with an RBI single, chopped it over the mound and into center field. That run that Redmond drove in the fifth is the difference in this game. And a throw to first to see if Redmond might be squaring around to bunt here. Young has not stolen a base this year, capable of doing that. The Twins, after Span's leadoff single in the sixth, and Denard steals second base. Young goes, and Redmond grounds it to short. A look to second, and Young ends up at second base.
Yeah, the Twins stay out of a double play right there. A little hit and run. Delman Young taking off. And Redmond, who usually shoots the ball the other way, it was a shortstop Scudero that was going to cover second, but the ball kind of stopped him at his tracks. But Delman Young does get to second base with one out.
And now Punto. Up and away, ball one. Punto with a couple of ground balls, one to short, one to first.
I have a base hit right here by Nick Punto. I have a call. Oh, okay.
In this at bat?
That's not what I thought of. No.
2 down.
Ball 11.
And that'll bring up Gomez.
See, he was a little out front. That's where Romero's. I thought he and Perkins pitching really good. Took a little off, created that pop-up.
Here's our Dodge game break, and we're going to take you to newly renovated Kauffman Stadium in a 2-2 tie. Carl Pavano having a better game for the Indians until John Buck cranks a home run. And it's in the top of the sixth now with Kansas City leading Cleveland 4-3. Indians with just one win on the season. Gomez drives it to right, and Rios retreats a couple of steps, and the Twins can't do anything with Young's leadoff single. On to the 8th. It's still 2-1.
There they are. Congratulations.
Glenn Perkins hoping to complete 8 innings for the second time in this young season. He'll face the top 3 batters for the Jays, and he delivers strike 1 to Scudero. Last night, Scudero, Hill, and Rios were a combined, and Wells were a combined 8 for 19. Tonight, they're 0 for 11 with a walk.
You know, Perkins has had one hiccup, and that in the second inning. Nick Punto made a great play up the middle to get him out of that inning. And other than that, I mean, he has pitched in a great ball game. When you know that the bullpens have not gotten up until the 8th inning, both starters have pitched well. For the first time, there's some action in the Twins bullpen. No action in Toronto Blue Jay bullpen. Jesse Crain and Craig Breslow warming up.
2 strikes to right field, and harmless enough for Span. 1 down. He has been outstanding on a night when the Twins needed him to be outstanding.
He's just changing speeds. He started off the ball game by throwing a lot of guys inner half of the plate. Now he's throwing that changeup and getting fly ball out. So Perkins doing exactly what Roy and I talked about pitching both sides of the plate, adding, subtracting. Very good numbers right there for Perk.
Aaron Hill. A couple of flies to left and a strikeout, and boy, getting ahead strike 1 helps too, doesn't it? 95 pitches, 60 strikes for Glenn Perkins tonight. Toward right field, Span without number 2.
See, that's not the same swing that Hill had tonight than he did last night against Kevin Slowey. That ball's outer half of the plate. Last night he took the ball right back up the middle. Because Perkins busted him inside earlier in the ball game, Hill didn't have the same swing on that ball outer half of the plate.
Here's Rios. Perkins with 23 outs so far. Still has not thrown his 100th pitch. Fouled into the seats. Rios has not gotten the ball out of the infield. A couple of ground balls and a strikeout.
Oh, for Perkins against the Mariners, when he went 8 innings, he threw 106 pitches in that 2-0 loss. And staying inside.
Just missing that inside corner.
Well, the Twins had a guy now with the Mets, Johan Santana. He lived inside.
2-1.
And he had a lot of success doing that. Fastballs in, then that great changeup.
Jesse Carlson warming up. Oh, what a wicked hop, and it's past Creedy into the left field corner. Rios around first, and he'll have an extra base hit, a 2-out double, and the tying runs in scoring position.
Oh, Rios maybe made the adjustment, opened up quickly. A wicked line drive that Creedy dove for, but then it hit the turf or the dirt and then bounced straight up over the diving Creedy down that left field line. Delmon Young got it back in.
Creedy actually made a play in the series finale against the Mariners on a similar ball. Didn't turn it into an out, but he took a double away and turned it into a single. Well, now Wells with the tying run at second and 2 away.
Oh, that ball, I guess, hit the bag.
The one in the Seattle series.
In the Seattle series, yes.
Down low, ball 1. And now 2-0.
Now Redmond going to go out to talk to Perkins. Be very careful here. One of the hottest hitters in baseball, Lind on deck, a left-handed hitter.
And Rick Anderson hasn't made a trip to the mound yet. Mike Redmond has. This a quick trip to the mound.
Well, you want to be very careful here now. Rick Anderson is going to be making a trip out to go over what they want to do with Vernon Wells right here. But this is where, as a starting pitcher, this is where you want to be. Game on the line late in the game, in the 8th inning. It's your game. It's his game. And hopefully Perkins can get out of this and then turn it over, I'm sure, to Joe Nathan. That's the game plan. But he needs to get out of this first.
The Twins have seen Vernon Wells and what he can do over the years. A very dangerous man in this Toronto lineup, with Craig Breslow and Jesse Crain warmed up, and the hope, of course, is that Joe Nathan will have a lead to protect in the 9th. But there's one more big out to get before we get there. 2-0 to Vernon Wells, and a base hit into center field, and it's going to tie the game. Gomez with the strong throw that comes all the way through. And it's a 2-2 ball game.
Well, they decided to pitch to Vernon Wells right there, and a ball up, and Vernon Wells picks up a big RBI on his first hit. So just like that, with 2 outs, a double by Rios, the ball left up. Wells fights it off, hits it into short right field, right center, and Rios scores a tying run.
So now Lind, who singled and scored back in the 2nd. Since then, Perkins has struck him out and got him to hit a 2-hopper to Casilla. Strike 1.
Wells takes off.
And Redmond's throw backhanded by Punto. A stolen base, and Wells advances into scoring position.
They got a very good jump right there. Vernon Wells stealing his 2nd base of the year. And Redmond's throw a little bit on the shortstop side, but Wells slides in safely.
Perkins wants a different baseball with the count 1-1. Cito Gaston is enjoying his rebirth as a major league manager, and he's had an exciting team so far here in this 2009 season. Popped up, a foul ball that'll reach the seats. 1-2. Well, it's easy to have fun when you're 6-2 and your team batting average is over 300.
Well, again, Dick, you look at this Toronto Blue Jay offense, what they can do, hitting .322 coming into this game, 6-2 like you mentioned, scoring a lot of runs. But it's a long season. A lot of things can happen, like happened to them last year. A lot of key injuries hurt the Blue Jays last year.
1-2 to Lind. Lifted to left field. Delman Young coming in. And the Jays get the tying run. Perkins slaps his glove in disgust. It's 2-2 going to the bottom of the 8th.
Side. That's going to be our instructional tonight. For Bly Roy Smalley will take you through that. Perkins did a great job of pitching inside thus far in the ball game. We'll also talk about Twins defense. Delman Young in particular. He had 2 outstanding catches out there in left field. And Perkins performs again. Glenn Perkins, 8 innings in each of his first 2 starts into the 2009 season. Now hopefully a little bit of Twins offense here in the bottom of the 8th, Dick.
That's the hope. Strike 1 to Denard Span. He'll be followed by Casilla and Morneau. Check swing, 1-1. Span has 2 of the 8 Twins hits. A soft line drive to left and a little squibber that barely rolled out of the dirt and barely stayed in fair territory. This one chopped to short. Scutaro has to get rid of it quickly and does. 1 away.
Well, great job by Glenn Perkins. You can see that his night is done. Now hopefully the offense can get that run back and give them the lead. But I want to compliment Robbie on that beautiful pink shirt that he is wearing tonight.
It's not pink. I understand it's salmon or cranberry.
It still looks pink to me.
1 down, and now Casilla. Bunted for a base hit past the pitcher in the 6th inning. There's strike 1.
Just a little high and outside.
1-1.
Sometimes the breaking ball just starts to break a little bit too late. The ball really broke good when it hit the back wall.
Bouncer to short again. Scutaro to Millar. 2 down.
You know, our instructional last night was exactly what Scutaro's done on these last 2, how he charged the ball. We talked about Nick Punto waiting back on that 1 ball last night. For Scutaro, look at him. He charges that ball right there, gets it on the short hop, and then flips it over to Millar for the quick out.
Well, shortstop's kind of been to Toronto what third base has been for the Twins. They've had 14 different shortstops since 2005. And Scutaro so far has done a great job anchoring that position. It's such a critical position for any team. 2 down, and here's Morneau. An RBI double and a fly ball single. Another breaking ball on the first pitch and a swing and a miss.
Yeah, good breaking ball, good location. 100 pitches right now for Ricky Romero.
One and one. Two and one. Just a handful of well hit balls against Romero. Morneau's double one of those. Creedy's double one of those. Even some of the hits have been soft hits, if you will. Breaking ball and a swing and a miss. 2 and 2.
Yeah, good pitch right there behind an account. He went to the breaking ball. Justin, I'm sure, looking fastball, something he can drive. Evens account to 2 and 2.
Foul. I don't have the line score, but it sure looks as if Carlos Silva pitched a heck of a ball game tonight. Mariners beat the Angels 3-2. I think they were going to have Ichiro Suzuki back in their lineup tonight. 2-2 to Morneau. And a full count with Kadair on deck. Swing and a miss, and Romero completes 8 innings, and we've got a tie game going to the ninth.
They really were. Ricky Romero, 8 very good innings, and Glenn Perkins, 8 solid innings. Romero threw 106 pitches, Perkins 107.
Joe Nathan in the game now to pitch to the Jays, specifically Scott Rowland leading off the ninth. Ball one.
Yeah, Nathan making his 3rd appearance of the year. He worked an inning on Sunday. Gave up a run, a solo home run to Jermaine Dye, the first batter he faced.
Missing the outside corner again with a fastball, and it's 2-0. Rolling with a pair of singles and a fly ball to right. Hook foul. Last night, R.A. Dickey pitched some of the 8th inning and then pitched the 9th inning. And Ron Gardenhire, talking about his outing last night, said that he was ready in 3 warm-up pitches and did an effective job, and make the case that he did the best job of tying up the Jays hitters last night. 2-1. Breaking ball over 2-2. But as we've seen Dickey as a starter, and then last night an effective appearance out of the relief or out of the bullpen, that he could be ready on just 3 warm-up pitches, I think would further the case that he's going to be on this team.
Pitcher's got a rubber arm.
Full count. They said they called down. They wanted him to warm up, and they just sat down, and the phone rang in the dugout. He's ready.
I remember talking to Raleigh Fingers 3-4 years ago about relieving, and he said he got it down to a science that he could get loose in the bullpen about 8 to 11 pitches, somewhere in there. Plus they get another 8 when they're out here. So they figure that in.
Scalding line drive over the Toronto dugout. Everybody's all right, I guess. That just hit me in the neck. I'm fine. Well, big pitch here.
He must be okay. Everybody around him not even paying attention to him.
Full count to Rolen, leading off the 9th in a tie game. High fly to center field. Looks harmless enough. 1 down. And of course, a closer can be used here because you get to this point of the game, there could no longer be a save situation. So Nathan in a non-save situation, but the game on the line on the top of the 9th.
Yeah, let's get them the win. But 2 great performances by Perkins. Lost 2-0. Now leaves the game 2-2. 2 8-inning performances. Great way to start the season for Perkins, other than that win.
Can you win the American League Pitcher of the Month without a win? Should get 3 more starts, you hope. 2 more starts anyway. 1 strike to Millar. Half swing. 1-1. Bouncer to short. Punto gobbles it up. 2 down. That'll bring up Michael Barrett. Barrett in his first plate appearance after McDonald pinch ran for Barajas. Barrett faced Joe Nathan, he had a home run against him.
Yeah, Barrett in his first season with the Toronto Blue Jays signed as a minor league free agent. Ended up making the ball club as the backup catcher to Rod Barajas. Barrett, a career .264 hitter with 97 career home runs in his 12th major league season.
Squirted to first. Morneau smothers it. He'll go to the bag, and Nathan pitches a fairly quick 1-2-3 9th inning. 2 apiece, bottom of the ninth. Twins hoping somebody will step up and be a hero here against Scott Downs, who pitched last night.
18 pitches, 11 for strikes.
First pitch, bounce to third. Rolling. Quickly retires Kadire, 1 down.
Yeah, Downs pitched the 8th inning last night. Brendan Harris greeted him with a double. Then he struck out to side. On the first pitch, an easy out for the first out for Scott Downs.
Gave up a leadoff double, then a wild pitch, and the Twins had that runner at third with nobody out for the second time of the game last night, and then Downs struck out Young, Creedy, and Punto. And it's Creedy coming up here with 1 out in the ninth. Taking low, ball 1. Creedy with a chance for redemption. He hit into the inning-ending double play in the 6th. And the Twins had a chance to break the game open a bit. And a chance to gain some revenge on Downs, who struck him out last night. Fouled back, 1-1. We mentioned last night Creedy had faced Downs a couple of times, gotten a double and a walk. Downs got him last night with the Blue Jay lead on the line. Swing and a miss with that breaking ball again.
And that's what struck him out on last night on that big breaking ball. Downs in his 5th season with the Jays, came up with the Cubs, also spent time with the Montreal Expos, now the Washington Nationals.
Got him again with the breaking ball. 2 down, and that'll leave it to Delman Young to keep us out of extra innings.
Almost deja vu from last night. That breaking ball that just breaks down and in, and almost like the same swing. Creedy strikes out for the second out.
Remember, he struck out Young, Creedy, and Punto, and now Young with 2 outs here in the ninth. Outside a ball. Young single leading off the 7th, got as far as second base. Called strike on the breaking ball. Half swing, but he went 1-2. You take one that's called a strike, and then it's so hard, I guess, to lay off the one that bites in the dirt.
Oh, he must have very tight rotation on that breaking ball. It's a big breaking ball. Barrett sitting down and in.
2-2. Young taps it foul. Got some wood on that breaking ball down and in.
It breaks so big and so sharp down and in. About the only thing you can do is exactly what Young did right there, is hook it foul. You're hoping that Downs leaves one up. Watch the rotation and the movement of that ball. All you can do is basically beat it to third base or foul.
Another 2-2 to Delman Young. And another strikeout. Scott Downs cuts through the Twins' middle of the lineup with ease in the ninth, and will have a 10th inning. He'll continue a running program, hopefully get in some games next week, and then we'll see. Won't be here for the bronze statuette night, but hopefully shortly after that. Here's Jose Bautista against Jesse Crain. And a fastball and a swing and a miss.
Yeah, Jesse Crain coming in for the 5th time. He last worked on Sunday against the White Sox. 2/3 of an inning, gave up a base hit through 9 pitches in the Twins' 6-1 loss.
Sticks it on the outside corner, 0-2. Crain pitched in back-to-back days, got last night off, now asked to pitch through at least the 10th inning. Slurve got him. A breaking ball on or near the outside corner.
That's a pitch that Jesse was working on in spring training. You've got ahead with the fastball, then the tight breaking ball right here. And Redmond holding it, and it's where it crosses the plate for strike 3.
So 1 down in the 10th, and here's Scutaro. Blue Jays getting their 2 runs with 2 out hitting. Scutaro's been held hitless, not only in the game, but in the series. Fouled back, big swing for Scutaro, who isn't the biggest guy in the world, but he's already hit a couple of home runs this year. One strike, Crain to Scutaro. One just missing the outside corner. Even though the Blue Jays did not have a great year last year, ended up changing managers. Cito Gaston, the 4th manager for J.P. Ricciardi. Inside 2-1. They did pitch very well, and it goes beyond the starting rotation that featured Roy Halladay and A.J. Burnett last year. They had the best bullpen in the American League, so you get down to a battle of the bullpens. Toronto's used to winning those, and that's what this game has evolved into now, a battle of the bullpens. 2-1 to Scutaro. Driven to right, Span retreating to make the catch, out number 2. Both starters did great, and Glenn Perkins came up with his 2nd great start in a row.
Boy, he really did. 8 solid innings, allowed only 7 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts for Perkins. Changed speeds well, worked the inner half of the plate, then went away with the off-speed pitch. Gets Rios right there on the changeup.
Night. Bounced foul, strike 1 to Aaron Hill. B.J. Ryan warming up in the event the Jays get the lead. Jesse Carlson might pitch next if they don't. Fouled away. Crain with 9 pitches, 7 strikes. Breaking ball, punch to right field, hit right at Denard Span. Good inning for Jesse Crain. A 1-2-3 10th.
Get a run right here. Rally hats are starting to come out. New pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays. It'll be another left-hander, Jesse Carlson. Carlson in his second season with the Blue Jays. Great numbers last year out of that bullpen. 7-2 in 69 relief appearances with a 2.25 ERA.
Ball one. Rally caps in a variety of styles, with Redmond looking for his second hit of the night. Drove in a run with a chopper over the mound. Back in the fifth. Outside 2-0.
Carlson, not an overpowering fastball. He'll throw that fastball like a screwball, a big sweeping swerve type curveball, and a changeup.
3-0. Jose Morales is warming up down in the bullpen. The presumption is if Redmond reaches, the Twins will pinch run for him. There's Morales doing what Mike Redmond did late in the ballgame last night. A 4-pitch walk puts Redmond aboard. And Redmond will go to first, and Brendan Harris will come off the bench to run in the catcher's spot. That opens up a lot of options for the Twins, with good bunters Punto and Gomez and Span due up in the next three spots. Punto is 0 for 3. We'll see if the Twins can push a run across here in the bottom of the 10th. Rolling charging from third. Bunt with some backspin, and Carlson fires it to first, and Punto gets the job done, bumping Harris up a base.
Yeah, good sacrifice bunt right there by Nick Punto, doing his job.
And now Gomez will hit. Gomez on the night 0 for 3. He's hit 3 balls to the outfield. The last ball he hit to the outfield was hit rather sharply to Rios. So conference on the mound. Of course, Gomez runs well. So does Denard Span. So
she's got some rhythm.
See how the Jays played here. Breaking ball around the plate, ball one. Right field line, a long run for Rios, and a foul ball. 1-1. So Rios nearly make a catch on a ball like that earlier tonight. Gomez has hit the ball the other way a couple of times tonight to the outfield.
Twins just need a dying quail to land somewhere. The outfield grass.
Now fouled off his foot, and it's 1-2.
Or the outfield turf.
Well, with Jesse Lynch going on the disabled list, Brian Talent, a left-handed reliever, moved into the starting rotation now for the Blue Jays. So what do? They call up another left-handed reliever, Bill Murphy. So even after the roster shuffle, they're going to have 4 left-handed relievers. And they keep throwing lefties at this Twins lineup. 1-2 to Gomez. Liner to right, caught by the first baseman Millar, and Harris is back just barely in time. Millar with a great catch to keep the game alive for Toronto.
Yeah, game-saving catch right there by Kevin Millar. He was playing a little bit off the line. He goes to his right. Harris looking to take a good jump and just slides in safely. And hopefully his belt is still on. But what a catch right there by Millar. Playing off the line, Harris diving back in. And just getting that hand on the bag to stay at second base.
Now Span with Harris at second and 2 away. I don't know that Harris would have necessarily scored. That ball was hit awfully hard. It would have gotten to Rios in a hurry, but Scotty Elger almost certainly would have sent him. Span takes a strike.
Well, look how close this play was. Harris just getting his hand back, the left hand.
Great catch by Kevin Millar. 1 strike to Span. A couple of hits against left-handed pitching tonight, looking for a third. 0-2.
2 straight breaking balls. First one, that sweeping breaking ball for strike 1. Then Span swinging through the second one.
Last night and again tonight against lefties. Span has been able to get a hit on an 0-2 pitch.
Outfield playing very shallow.
1-2. To Span. Close pitch taken for ball 2. Now the Jays do have this first base open and a slump-ridden Casilla in the on-deck circle.
Yeah, but he won a game here for the Twins against the Mariners with a base hit.
Carlson looks in. 2-2 to Span. Got him. So the Twins get a leadoff walk and get Harris as far as second base, and will go to the 11th, tied at 2.
Yeah, this game is going to the top of the 11th because of Kevin Millar and what he was able to do right here. Gomez taking that pitch the other way. Good piece of hitting, but there's Millar diving and making an outstanding catch and almost doubling Harris off at second.
Harris out of the game and Morales is in catching as we go to the 11th inning. Jesse Crain had a quick 10-pitch 1-2-3 10th inning. And he'll face Alex Rios to start the 11th. behind him and a grounder to short. Punto sets and fires and a quick first out of the 11th. One down, and that'll bring up Wells.
Center fielder Bernie Wells.
Wells got the big 2-out single to center that scored Rios in the 8th inning for the tying run.
Yeah, Rios had doubled with 2 outs, and then Wells on a 2-0 pitch hit that soft liner into center field to pick up the game tying RBI.
Good fastball that covers the inside corner. Missed the corner, and it's 1-1. Outside 2-1. He's trying to end a 10-game losing streak against Toronto. Hard to explain such things.
And you would think that because they haven't beaten the Toronto Blue Jays since 2007, it would come down to a game like this. And, you know, hopefully it'll work out in the Twins' favor, get that nuisance, that game losing streak behind them.
3-1. Twins went 0 for 6 against Toronto last year. The streak, as unpleasant as it's been for that man, goes back to 2007. 3-1 with 1 gone in the 11th. Adam Lind on deck. High fly left center field. Gomez over. Out number 2. Good work so far by Jesse Crain. 5 up and 5 down. And here is Lind. Single in his first at bat, and then maybe for the first time this year has gone 0 for 3 since. Strikeout, a ground ball, and a fly to left. Outfield playing pretty deep. They don't want to give up an extra base hit here, and Crane starts him with strike 1.
Yeah, good breaking ball right there by Jesse.
Foul back, a big swing, and Lind fouled it straight back. Eight innings by Perkins. A 1-2-3 ninth by Nathan. A 1-2-3 10th by Crane. Sean Camp and B.J. Ryan in the Toronto pen. 1-2. Breaking ball tapped up the line, foul. Coaches for the Blue Jays, Dwayne Murphy, great center fielder in his day as the first base coach. And Nick Leyva, right in the same coach's box he was when Gary Gaetti threw to Kent Hrbek to wrap up the '87 World Series. He's the third base coach for the Cardinals in '87. 1-2 to Lind, and a foul back. Crane trying to put Lind away. You get the Twins off the field in a tie game. Morales Morales couldn't hang on to a breaking ball fouled by Lind.
Yeah, Morales expecting that curveball to go down and in, and Lind way out front, maybe off the end of the bat. Watch Morales. He's going to get in front of that curveball, and Lind just getting a piece of it.
1-2 to Lind again from Crane. Just off the plate, 2-2.
Fastball not missing by much.
Breaking ball, and sometimes the sign of a good hitter isn't just the hits he gets, but the pitches he's able to foul off. And Lind has fought off a couple of tough ones in this at bat.
Morales going out to talk to Jesse. They've thrown about everything but the kitchen sink at him.
Breaking balls, fastballs, different locations, and Lind red hot, and he's kept this at bat alive. Great battle here between the league's hottest hitter and Jesse Crane. Popped him up, and it'll spin back over the net.
Well, they tried to go fastball in, and Lind fouled it off. What, 9 pitches in this at bat, I'm guessing.
Trying to get that confirmed. If it's 9, there have been 5 2-strike fouls. Another 2-2 to Lind. And now 3-2 with Rolen on deck. And trying to finish off another 1-2-3 inning. Breslow warming up. And another foul. Nice catch by that young man.
Young man gave it to the young lady.
Very nice.
Very nice.
6 2-strike fouls for Lind. Got him!
That was just a classic battle. But I got to tell you, I love the way Jesse Crain pitched those 2 innings. It was strike, strike, strike with all his pitches. Let's hope that he has regained the form pre-shoulder issues that he had last year, because that was some impressive pitching right there.
Strike 1 to Casilla. Now ball 1. Casilla, Morneau, and Cuddyer trying to end this game in the 11th inning. Bounce to Roland. And Casilla continues his struggles from the right side of the plate. 1 down.
Well, Roland playing in right there. You cut down the range, but he just dove to his left to come up with that ball. Jesse Carlson in his 2nd inning of relief.
Been a pattern here in this series with the lefties pitching to Morneau. It seems the first pitch has always been a breaking ball, down and away. Fastball clips the inside corner. Morneau with a pair of hits, an RBI double, and a single off the fence in right. And now the outside corner, and it's 0-2. Base hit to right. Morneau now 3 for 6 in his at-bats against Carlson. And the big hit here coming on an 0-2 pitch.
Well, Carlson made the first 2 pitches nasty pitches. Fastball down in, good fastball away, and then he left a breaking ball up, and Justin did not miss it. See the breaking ball just stay middle in. And for Justin, his 3rd hit of the ball game.
And now Cuddyer. Breaking ball around the plate. Ball 1. Chopped foul. 1-1.
Last time the Minnesota Twins beat the Toronto Blue Jays, you have to go back to June 28th here at the Metrodome, where Carlos Silva and the Twins beat the Jays 8-5. That was a ball game that Frank Thomas hit his 500th home run in.
One and one to Cuddyer. 2-1. The designated hitter in the lineup for the Twins. Lifted to right field. Rios makes the grab for out number 2. That'll bring up Joe Crady. Crady against Downs saw a steady diet of breaking pitches and struck out. But now Cito Gaston is going to come to the mound and maybe bring in a right-hander to face him.
I'm surprised if he's going to make the move here. Why did he not bring in the right-hander to face Michael Cuddyer? So I don't know if this is a move or not, or just a conversation.
Okay. Crady did a solid double to lead off the 5th inning and scored on Redmond's single. It was the last time the Twins scored a run, way back in the 5th inning. At the knees, another breaking ball, and strike 1. And 1 to Joe Crady. Royals teeing off in the Indians bullpen. So far 5 runs in the bottom of the 8th. 1-1.
We said that a lot last year, too, out of that Indian bullpen.
Indians in danger of falling to 1-7. 1-1 here to the Twins' third baseman. Down low, 2-1. White Sox and Tigers were weathered out this afternoon at Comerica Park. Creedy drives it to right center field, hits it well. This one's back. This one is off the wall. Morneau will round third. He's coming home. Throw to the plate. Not in time, and Creedy wins it for the Twins. The Toronto losing streak is over.
Twins got a break right there. The ball stayed in the ballpark. Creedy, the hero here tonight. A lot of heroes. Glenn Perkins, the bullpen. Joe Nathan, Jesse Crane. And high fives all around.
Creedy facing a lot of left-handed pitching in this series, and when they'd gotten him out, they got him out on a lot of tough breaking balls. He found one to his liking and drilled it to center field.
Yeah, Carlson let that ball up, and again, Vernon Wells, who plays a pretty shallow center field, he went back for it, and a lot of times we see that ball hit the turf out there in the right center and then bounce over. Instead, it hit the baggy wall and stayed in the ballpark. That allowed Justin Morneau, with 2 outs, to score from first base.
And Carlson upset about the game-winning double, but also the pitch he left up to Morneau on an 0-2 count that started the rally. And Robbie's down on the field now with Joe Creedy.
Exactly, Joe. It's good to meet you under these circumstances on the air. Finally, you got the game-winning double here in the bottom of the 11th inning. What did you see? What were you looking for? How did it happen?
I was looking for something over the plate. You know, all night long they've been pounding me inside, and you know, I was just having a tough time picking that, that slider down and in, and I was looking for something out over the plate to drive the other way.
Now, this is your second game in a Twins uniform against the Blue Jays. You snapped a 10-game losing streak for the Twins against the Jays. How does that feel?
Well, it feels great. This team's got a lot of ability and a lot of talent, and it's just a matter of time for this team, starts clicking.
And you said a matter of time before they start clicking. Maybe is this the turning point for this team? A battle from behind, not battle from behind, but a tie game, a close game. Could this be the turning point?
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you play these tight games, it's always a character builder for your team, and it builds your confidence as a team as well.
Joe, congratulations on the game-winning hit. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Joe Creedy, game-winning RBI double. Quest Twins Live starts right now.
Fox Sports North's Twins coverage continues. Quest Twins Live starts now.
Creedy drives it to right center field, hits it well. This one's back. This one is off the wall. Morneau will round third. He's coming home. Throw to the plate. Not in time. And Creedy wins it for the Twins.